Jarosław Stalenga, who is a researcher working in institute on organic farming. Please, Jarosław, if you can share your presentation and take us through organic farming. We can see the full screen. We cannot hear you yet.
Okay, now, maybe now.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank you for our invitation, Magda and your team, for participation in this interesting workshop. And I'm pleased to deliver you a presentation on key challenges in organic farming. This is the topic I'm involved in research for more than 20 years. So I hope I will be able to deliver you something interesting.
Jarku, something happened. I cannot hear you.
Okay, sorry, some technical problems. So my presentation will consist of two elements. First one, it will be a brief outline of the background of the EU policy on organic farming, and the main element of my presentation will be on key challenges in organic farming. So let's start from the outline. In 2019, European Commission announced, for most of you well-known, European Green Deal, which consists of 10 priorities. One of this priority concerns agriculture and food quality. And for this priority, the strategy from farm to fork was published 1 year later. And one of the important elements of this strategy is the EU policy on organic farming. The main component of this policy is the long-term, quite ambitious aim to achieve in 2030 25% of total agriculture area in the European Union under organic farming. Is it a realistic aim? It looks like for some countries it is quite realistic, as for example some already achieved this ambitious aim, like Austria. For other, the aim is quite close to be achieved, like Sweden, Italy, Czech Republic, and most of these countries declared that until 2030 they will be able to achieve this aim, or even some countries will be able to go ahead and achieve even more, 30%. What is the situation in Poland? We are in a group of countries that it looks like it will be rather difficult to achieve this 25%. At this moment in Poland, data for the 2022 year, it is almost 4%. In our institute, we developed two scenarios how the situation may develop, and we proposed two scenarios, one realistic and the second is the optimistic. And in this realistic, we assume that in 2030 we'll be able to achieve 1 million hectares, which is about 6%. There's also this optimistic scenario. As the name is optimistic, it will be rather difficult and it is 2 million hectares twice, and about 13. So in both scenarios, we are not able to achieve 25%. Our Ministry of Agriculture accepted this realistic scenario, 6-7%. So I think it is, yes, it is from the point we are now. I think we'll be able to achieve this 6%. Okay, so this is the very brief outline. Now I will go to challenges. Well, I distinguished at least 3 challenges. Of course, there are much more than presented here. In my opinion, one of the most important is the yield gap and low competitiveness of organic farming in relation to conventional agriculture. Yeah, what is the yield gap? There is a lot of research done in this area, a lot of publication appeared. I think one of the important publication was published 12 years ago. It is a review in which more than 360 yield comparisons were done between organic and conventional, and the conclusion is that the difference between organic and conventional is about 20%. And of course, it is average for different crops, for different regions. In fact, when we compare particular crops or different regions, this difference might be completely different. I mean, bigger or smaller. There is also another important conclusion from this review, the conclusion that the higher yields in conventional farming, the bigger difference with organic yields. So what this means that in less fertile, poorer soils, this difference between organic and conventional yields is relatively small, which is the case, for example, in Poland, where definitely most of organic farms are located on less fertile, poor soils. There is another publication published in 2015, which concentrate on different techniques, practices that may improve the organic farming. And the conclusion is that by implementing different diversification practices like catch cropping, intercropping, crop mixtures, and diversified rotation rich with legume crops, we will be able to reduce this difference to as little as 8-9%, so about 10% less than this average presented in former publication. And there is another, I think, very interesting publication from 2017, which tried to answer a very important question, whether the organic farming is able to feed the world. There is no doubt, and this is also the conclusion from this publication, if we would be able to convert the whole agricultural land globally into organic, we would need definitely more land for crop production, which would mean that we would, for example, deforestate a lot of areas. But of course, this conversion would have some advantages, like the reduction of surplus of nitrogen or the reduction of the pesticides use. But there is another important conclusion from this publication, which shows that having the same land use area as we have at this moment, we would be able to convert it into organic, provided that we will make a significant reduction in food losses. and also if we will be able to significantly reduce the consumption of animal products, what in a consequence would reduce the area of land needed for feed production. But coming to the main question, how to improve crop yielding in organic farming, there is a common agree that one of the best options is the ecological intensification. This is the concept developed about 10 years ago. There are different names for this concept: sustainable intensification, ecological intensification, or eco-functional intensification. There are a lot of different features of this concept. I'm not going to go into details. Unfortunately, we don't have time for this now. But the general picture of this concept is that we focus on the maximum use of natural processes in agriculture production, like, for example, biological fixation of nitrogen or biological pest control. These two processes are very good examples of how to utilize them in agriculture production in organic farming. So there are a lot of very detailed options how to improve crop yielding in organic farming by optimization of crop rotation, by optimization of nutrient management, crop protection, selection of the seeds of very good quality, but also by selection of the appropriate varieties. And I think here I can mention about a program which was established in our institute some years ago. We call it organic variety testing in organic farming, which is aimed to assess the suitability of different crop varieties for cultivation in organic farming. This system was established 5-6 years ago, and now with a close cooperation with Central Research Center for Cultivated Plant Varieties. We call it in Polish Soboru. From the beginning, we started to test spring and winter cereals, but 1 year later, we also added grain legumes. And in 2022, we already had more than 140 experimental adder fields all over Poland. Few words about the second challenge, increasing specialization of organic agriculture. We are observing this specialization all over the world, but I think especially in our region in Poland. This specialization goes mainly into the crop production, and we see that 5 years ago this trend is more or less stable, but it stopped during last 3-4 years. Anyway, about 90% of organic farms in Poland do not keep organic animal production. So 90% of organic farms are completely stockless. They're not completely stockless, as some of them already keep conventional animal production, which is in accordance with the organic regulations. But anyway, this specialization is, we were observing that it was going very fast. What are the consequences of this specialization? We are doing a lot of research comparing different organic farms of different profiles, this crop-oriented, mixed, animal-oriented, and we see that these crop-oriented farms have serious problems with maintaining appropriate soil-nutrient balance. It is not a problem with a soil-nutrient balance, but also with soil organic matter balance, but also with nutrient balance, especially with phosphorus and potassium. And the last point, which is also connected with the former, is the conventionalization and globalization of organic markets, which unfortunately causes the increased carbon footprint of bio products. As maybe some of you know, the beginning of organic farming was connected with usually very short value chains. But during the intensive development of organic farming, especially during last 25-30 years, we were observing a real globalization of organic market. In this context, I think there is a strong need to come back to these traditional forms. So there is a strong need for stronger support of these short supply chains, mainly based on local food production. There are many examples of such short supply chains, like food cooperatives, like box delivery schemes, community-supported agriculture, open street markets, specialized biomarkets. All these forms already are present in our, let's say, market, and they are developing. I think they need still stronger support. We are not able to stop at this moment this globalization and conventionalization, but I think at the same time there is a strong need to support this short supply chains, mainly based on local food production. Thank you very much for your attention.